Hello coloring friends, how are you today? Here is another finished pages video in which we will go through all the pages I colored and painted in July, and I will also share with you my plans for the next coloring projects. July was quite a busy month, and if it comes to coloring, I'm really glad that I managed to color 12 coloring pages and paint 13 pages. Although most of the pages were painted in my mini sketchbook, so they didn't take almost any time. Let's start with these two super cute pages that I colored for Coloring Book Cafe. I was using Ohuhu alcohol markers on both pages, and to get the best result I also used a paper by Ohuhu that was made specifically for alcohol markers. And yeah, there is a little bit harsh edge on the top of the first picture, but overall the coloring is smooth and I loved coloring both pages. Next is a page in the Enchanted Earth coloring book, and I also enjoyed this page a lot. I wanted to color it for a long time, and I had a vision on how the picture inside the paw should look like, but I still wasn't sure about the background. And finally I decided to give this page a shot, and after a while of thinking I came out with this background. What I love about this coloring book is that the pages are one-sided, so when I was using inks for the background, I didn't have to worry about bleeding through and I could focus on the process. After a really long time, I touched the Magical Dawn by Hanna Karlzon. I chose the Hourglass page, and yeah, I had a totally different idea. Well, I intended to use these colors, but the shape of the background looked quite different in my head before I started to paint. Anyway, I still like it a lot, and I was using all kinds of mediums like watercolors, soft pastels, or inks and pencils. I can say I kind of experimented with mixed media here. I wanted to know how they work together and so on. And even if I used a heavy application of watercolors, the other side of the page stayed untouched by the paint, and the page by itself is just a little bit wrinkled, which is pretty cool. Also, after a long time, I picked a page from Worlds of Wonder coloring book by Johanna Basford, and I was using inks for the background again. Yeah, July was a month of inks for me. You will also see what I painted with them soon. And for the picture in the middle, I was using Derwent Inktense for the galaxy and pencils for the rest. For all these pages I am showing you, I have videos on my channel, of course, but if you are interested in a detailed tutorial on how I colored these trees or the galaxy sky, then check out my Patreon, where you will find not only these two tutorials, but much more. Speaking of Patreon, here are the pages I colored for my members for the Fellowship of the Coloring Cats. First is the page from Mythical Women by Any Coloring, where I was using Prismacolors and Nia colors. And it's worth mentioning that for all my Patreon tutorials, I'm always using only one pencil brand, so the videos are easier to follow, and I mainly use Prismacolor, and I combine them with other mediums like watercolors or Nia colors and so on, which I use mainly for the background, as you can see here. Of course, the videos are done like color along videos or coloring tutorials, so it's a little bit different from what I publish here on YouTube, where my videos are more for fun and inspiration. The next page we have here is from the coloring book Space by Hanna Karlzon. And this book was sent to me by a very kind person some time ago. Unfortunately, there was no note, so I have no idea who sent it. Anyway, In case that the person missed my thank you on the community tab that I posted right after receiving the book, I want to thank you again. I love this book and I really appreciate your kindness. Then we have the page from A Japanese Garden coloring book by the Coloring Book Cafe. And this is the page that my coloring cats chose in the monthly poll. And it's done with Derwent Inktense and pencils. I think I was using Polychromos, but I am not sure at this moment. It's possible that I was using Prismas, but I think I was using Polychromos. Anyway, all the pencil numbers are shown in the videos, so yeah. Then I also did the page in the Witch's Cottage coloring book by Hannah Carlson. This is also my favorite book by Hannah. And I did the first page, where as you can see was very large empty background. So I colored it with Nia colors and the rest was done with Prismacolors and with Posca. Now the first page from Kirby's book, and this one is from Worlds Within Worlds. I started this page a long time ago and I had a totally different idea about the final result. But as it goes, if I leave my page unfinished, I change my mind about it, and if I ever decide to get back to it, I do it completely differently. So then I have to work with what I have. So instead of doing an astronaut, I decided to make a diver. And if I wouldn't do the background with an acrylic paint before, I would do the underwater background. And it would look so good, I know it. Well, I could still do it with acrylic paints, but oh, how I didn't want to pick the acrylics. So I ended up leaving the background empty, just black, and when I look at this page, I just imagine that the diver is so deep under the water that there is only darkness around him and nothing else. Alright, I have 2 more pages from Kirby's books, but let's first look at what I painted. So finally I figured out how to paint a scene like this. I mean a scene with a lot of fog around, and it's actually pretty easy. But I still struggle with trees. I guess the more I will paint them, the better they will be, but I don't have much patience, you know, so there should have been more trees on this picture, but never mind. I also finished this mini sketchbook. It took me almost a year, and towards the end it was really quite a struggle, but it was really worth it. And I painted on really every page, even those that were not watercolored. I did the start page, that was really easy. I just did the light background and then the writing. And then I did the misty trees on the right page. The right page isn't watercolor paper, and here you may see the difference between this page and the watercolor page in this sketchbook. And the difference is really huge. You may also see the green peeking through. I played with the inks a lot, and for this green page I was using this beautiful shiny ink. It's not much visible through the glass on the camera, but the gold particles are really cool and they make this beautiful effect on the paper. However, the gold particles are also quite heavy, so they fall down to the bottom very quickly. So yeah, you have to shake the bottle all the time. But who cares? It was quite cheap. I think I get it from AliExpress, so whatever. As I said before, July was a month in sign of inks. So all the pages I painted in this sketchbook are done with inks, and I was using Distress inks for this Foggy Mountain page, and I have a tutorial on my channel if you are interested, so yeah, you can check it out. Then I did this landscape, of which I'm super proud, and I just love it so much, and I would never have believed that I was using only one ink and it's the Colorex ink, and I really used only this black one on the whole page and actually on all the other pages in this sketchbook that I painted this month. The trick is in diluting the ink with water, and that's it. You can easily control the value and make the whole painting like this. And with the same ink, I did these 4 last pages in this sketchbook, and actually the July was quite a sad month for me and for my family. So I think that also kind of reflected in these paintings. The next 3 paintings are also done with inks, and I have to say that the Etchr sketchbook did amazing. Inks are characterized by being very pigmented and wet, of course, which makes them bleed through watercolor paper as well. For example, when I did a swatch in the 100% cotton Hahnemühle sketchbook that has 250 GSM, they just bled through. But that didn't happen with this Etchr sketchbook. But it's not only this, you know, overall, the work in this sketchbook is just amazing. I just love it. So the first painting was done with various inks I have found at home. And these were usually the glittery ones, just because I love everything that shines, you know, so I have quite a collection of shiny inks. However, my color palette is very unbalanced. I have never thought about using the inks for painting before, so I always grabbed just what was on sale and what was glittering, you know, and shining. And I didn't even think about it much. On the other hand, it was a great opportunity to test my mixing skills. It's just a pity that I didn't have all the primary colors, but never mind. And this tree was done again with a black ink, with the Colorex ink, and I wanted to add an accent of gold. Unfortunately, I used too much of it, so it's quite disturbing, but who cares? The third painting was done all only with distress inks. I have a few refill bottles, and finally I have found the use for them. What I really love about inks is that they are ready to go, and because they are very strong, you can use only a small amount of them and it's really enough for the whole page. So I really recommend, if you have some inks at home, try them and paint something beautiful. Nice! Now we can go back to finished Kerbis pages. And the next I've done is from the Mythic World. I was using mainly watercolors on the whole page and a little bit of pencils on the trolls and acrylic pen for the highlights. And for the first time ever, I tried to make clouds like this, and I was using white gouache. It was super easy and fun, so I'm now obsessed with doing clouds. Yeah. I also tried to make the reflection of clouds in the water, and that's not really an easy task. But I'm happy that the reflection is at least similar to the sky. Finally, my latest page is the beetle from the Imagimorphia, and here I did the opposite to the clouds. I wasn't using white gouache, but dark watercolor, and my intent was to make something like waves more than clouds, but overall the techniques is very similar. So yeah, now this is my second obsession. In the end, here are my plans for the upcoming month. Firstly, I hope to be able to paint more in my beloved Etchr sketchbook. Also, I bought 4 new coloring books, which you will see in the upcoming art supply haul, so stay tuned. And I would really love to start coloring in them. This Fantastic World coloring book is so beautiful and so scary at the same time. The pictures are double-sided and very detailed. None of the Kerbis pages seem to be so terrifying to me than this one, but I can't wait to try it. Then there is the Nice Little Dragons coloring book, which is super cute, and I think that this coloring book will be just relaxing to color. Next is the Shooting Star coloring book, which I absolutely love, and I already colored 3 pictures in it, but they will be shown properly in the video next month. I also have some new art supplies, such as these watercolor brush pens by Ohuhu, and you could already watch my first impression and coloring video. So if you want to see how they work, how they are, what I think about them, it's all in the video. Now the medium that everybody talks about, so of course I had to get one for myself. And these are the soft oil pastels. I haven't tried them yet, but you can await the first impression video in the upcoming weeks. And finally, I want to color the Finfolk page from Mythic World coloring book. This page will be colored for one of my subscribers who won the challenge I posted some time ago. And I'm really sorry that it takes me quite a long time to get into it. But don't worry, I think about it and the page will be done, and I'm really looking forward to do it. There are also other pages I would like to color, like the other beetle in the Imagimorphia and all the other pages that I tagged with these colorful sticky notes. But you know that there is not enough time for every page. Alright, I hope you enjoyed July's finished pages, and if you want to see more of what I colored, check out the next video that just showed up on the screen. Have a meowsome day and see you soon! Bye bye!